It's like I'm talking to a classroom. I've got a couple announcements, then love to take some questions for you. When the president came in for this term, he commented on how challenging it had been to deal with the affordability crisis in pharmaceutical medications, often commenting on the fact that he'd been able to reduce the price by 1/8 of 1% at one point in the first administration. And he thought that was a massive achievement because it's usually just skyrocketing. And it's an important issue for a lot of folks in America because almost 1 in 3 Americans, when they go to a pharmacy to pick up a medication that their doctors prescribe for them, leaves empty-handed because they can't afford the medication, especially for branded products. And part of the reason for this, it's unknown to a lot of Americans, but it's well recognized by the president and this administration, is that our drug prices are about 3 times higher on average than the same drugs made in the same facilities in the same American factories oftentimes than they are charging patients overseas in Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world. It's global freeloading. It's wrong. President demanded that we change it. And as most of you know, we spent much of last year negotiating with the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies that drive over 80% of the entire business in branded pharmaceuticals. And every single one of them agreed to a most favored nation drug pricing strategy, which simply stated means that these medications, especially going into the future, will be priced at the same amount as the rest of the world. It doesn't mean price fixing. We're not telling pharmaceutical companies what to charge. We're saying to them, whatever you charge us, you got to charge the other folks, which means we might be able to help you overseas to get better pricing so that you can make up some of the losses that you'll experience here. And the Council of Economic Advisors estimated that the benefit of the president's negotiated program is about $600 billion over the next 10 years, $600 billion of savings. The question then becomes, how do you actually get that savings to the American people? And we work together with some wonderful folks, Georgevia and Korstein, who have been building the TrumpRx.gov site. And I've got an announcement that today we are adding 160 more drugs to this site. Now, the site already has 700 or so, or 600 or so drugs, so it's going to take it over 750 total. But that is an important number for other reasons. It means that 4 out of 5 medications that are picked up by Americans going into that same drugstore that I mentioned earlier now have the opportunity to double check that the price they're getting in that drugstore, wherever they're buying it from, is the best price out there. So it's a transparency site. It gives everybody the ability to make important decisions about medications they're purchasing with full knowledge of what the cost of those medications are. And that's important because transparency drives cost-effective changes in how we procure and consume products. You would never buy a car without knowing the cost of the car. Some of these medications cost what a car costs. And so these are important assets for the American people to have. I'll put some numbers on this. In the 2 weeks since we did the last event with the president on this topic, we're now up to about 12 million unique visitors to the site. Estimated savings are about $500 million. And again, climbing rapidly as more Americans learn about the program. And it is our great hope and belief that the average American, before they make a purchasing decision for a pharmaceutical product, will start using TrumpRx.gov as a standard, as a baseline, to take advantage of something that's been given to. Again, there's no money made from this site. The government does not charge money to people using this site. It's an opportunity for you to be empowered. That stated, I want to add to that one additional insight that some of you would like to hear, which is that starting on July 1st, the patients on beneficiaries on Medicare who are eligible for GLP products, the weight loss products that the president speaks of frequently, will be allowed to obtain those products for $50 a month. Now, the list price, as you know, for a lot of these drugs is well over $1,000 a month. We've been working hard to push down on these prices to make sure that these medications, which can be life-changing and even life savings because of their impact on weight loss and downstream complications like diabetes and hypertension and all the things that they cause, like kidney failure, heart disease, and strokes and dementia, even cancers, all those risk factors are going to be mitigated, we believe, if these medications are used correctly. And so when doctors prescribe them, Medicare beneficiaries will be able to obtain them for $50 a month. And we are hopeful that over the next few years, we will show an actual savings to the American taxpayer if these medications exactly and appropriately and consistently, so folks get the weight loss they desire with the downstream benefits that I mentioned earlier. I also want to touch briefly on the crushing of fraud, waste, and abuse made possible by the Vice President's anti-fraud task force. The White House task force has been aggressively going after an all-of-government approach. I'll speak personally as the person charged with the Medicare and Medicaid services when we identify by looking at the data, which we have plenty of, that there's an aberrancy in how these bills are coming into us, so there might be fraud there. It's incredibly empowering for us to quickly call the Office of Inspector General or the FBI, the Department of Justice, and to have Todd Blanche call back and say, here's what we're going to do about what you just observed, or call Scott Best in the Treasury and say, we need forensic accounting. Something is going on here. Where are they hiding the money? And I want to emphasize that this is sophisticated work because our opponents are extraordinarily sophisticated in their attacks on our system. They just need to have a Medicare beneficiary number or some of their ID, which is basically a credit card, and they can begin charging against the federal tax dollars that go into Medicare and Medicaid. That's one of the reasons we're seeing such high amounts of fraud in different parts of the country, and we believe there are organized criminal groups behind some of these endeavors. So I wanted to walk you through a couple of these examples because our goal is to stop the money from ever leaving the building. That is the best way to protect the American taxpayer. As you know, we were in Minnesota last week where the largest autism takedown occurred. A mother and a daughter, adult daughter, were accused of tens of millions of dollars of theft. Just to put this in perspective, the reason these are so important is if you defraud the system, you don't just take money out of the system. People steal your money. The money from our most vulnerable Americans are going to steal their health. They'll steal their life. And that's what we have been seeing in some of these takedowns. Unfortunately, when these events don't happen in a timely fashion, you lose the whole program. So in Minnesota, the state itself stopped non-emergency medical transportation, which is when you need someone to take you to the doctor's appointment. They cut the whole program. It's gone. It's finished because they could not deal with the fraud. It went from an estimated $1 million a year. How much can it cost to take a car to a doctor's office to over $100 million a year? So they killed the program. And that, of course, we believe, because it doesn't provide the kind of care we desire for our fellow Americans, can be problematic. We don't want that to happen in other endeavors as well. So we've been working with the state of Minnesota. We're not happy with some of the things we've been encountering as we look at their receipts on the services they provided, which is why we deferred $350 million to the state of Minnesota, and we're waiting to hear feedback from them. Other states have also been problematic. California comes to mind, where we've made several trips of late. 1/3 of all of the hospice in the entire country. And hospice is a precious, beautiful program built in the 80s to take care of people with dignity in the last months of their life. Classically, someone has metastatic cancer, they're going to die. It's going to happen in a few months. You give up your Medicare, because why would you want Medicare? You don't need all those things. Take hospice instead. But that trade has risks with it if you don't actually have a lethal problem. And when 1/3 of all the hospices in the entire country are in Los Angeles, not even California, and Los Angeles, that creates issues. First of all, it's not plausible, but it also means someone's been ignoring the problem. And in fact, there was a call 4 years ago by the state auditor in California to address these problems. It was not managed. So our agency has now suspended payments to 850, almost half of all the hospices in California now have been suspended, but they're no longer being paid. And we're going to keep aggressively going at this problem, because when we go after hospice in California, guess what happens? Hospice in Nevada went up 7-fold. Hospice in Arizona, hospice in Texas, they've all gone up. These scoundrels run to other areas. I just learned this morning, now they're infiltrating the home healthcare space in California, which is equally a problem, because now they're taking advantage of a different sector of the population, this time Medicaid, but using nefarious techniques and technologies to do that as well. And again, these are organized criminal syndicates, we believe, in many instances. And that's why being a personal care service attendant, which is, again, doing something that your family would normally do for you, carrying groceries upstairs, driving you somewhere, that job is now by twofold the most common job in California, and it's the most common job in New York. Again, this defies belief that you can get that much growth in single sectors, but these are well-paid jobs that have become now ubiquitously available. There's not been strong guardrails. The last administration did not think that this was an important endpoint. The endpoint was enrolling people and getting people onto these different programs, and that has led to a tremendous opportunity for corrupting the system, and that's what we're witnessing. With that in mind, there's lots we can do to fix these problems. We've been aggressively going after states, red and blue. We wrote a letter to Florida. The difference, by the way, was Florida responded by saying, we know we have a problem. We're going to double down. We want a moratorium on all of our durable medical equipment suppliers. And why? Because there are twice as many durable medical equipment suppliers in South Florida than McDonald's. Again, not really possible unless you're looking the other way. We're not looking the other way. We're aggressively taking on these challenges. And I'm going to reemphasize something that I'm hoping everyone appreciates. But if you're defrauding our most vulnerable citizens in America, do not walk away from this threat. Run away from us because we're coming after you. All right. I've got. Give me 1 second. I was actually given a cheat sheet, which you all know I got. Shelby, the new media, take it away.
Thanks. I actually wanted to ask about that nationwide moratorium. Industry groups are really concerned about growth and employment getting hurt if that moratorium expands beyond 6 months. Would you rule out an extension of that moratorium, or do you expect that it's going to be expanded?
I'm not going to rule out an extension. We have been talking to industry groups about these moratoria. In fact, just as for everybody watching, all of you as well, we benefit from whistleblowers. Our most important whistleblowers have been members of industry who know the game, know how you can cheat it if you're unethical, and they point out to us when these problems occur. So we do not want to hurt the folks who are earnestly involved in hospice, in durable medical equipment suppliers, personal care services. They're good people in these businesses, but we're going to slow down the growth of these sectors till we can get our arms around the problem, because it is of massive magnitude to us. When we go to, let's go over here. Go ahead.
Dr. Oz, thank you so much. Kara Castronova from Lindell TV with two important questions that the American people voted for and care deeply about. Many Americans fear our future administration could reinstate COVID-era vaccine mandates through Medicare and Medicaid funding. Would you support and create reforms to prevent that from happening again? What can you do during your remaining time at CMS to ensure Americans are never forced to choose between their jobs and a forced vaccination?
Well, the president talked about this a bit on Friday with an executive order that desires to provide states with better science to be able to make educated decisions. It is an embarrassment that during COVID we allowed ideology and fear to dictate healthcare policy. Many clinicians at the time couldn't understand where these ideas were coming from. It certainly soured the American people on the trust that their government had historically had in recommending public policy efforts. The president argues, and he's right, and Secretary Kennedy strongly believes we need gold standard science. We need that science to be able to help families make better decisions for themselves, and state governments, because these are state-driven issues usually, especially mandates, to make those decisions more wisely. If we can do this in the right way, it will be very empowering, because who loves children the most? Their parents. No matter what we might say, they're the ones who need to have the information. They should have the ability to make the wisest choices for their kids, not based in fear, but based in science. Stephen.
One more nursing home stuff, Roz, if you don't mind.
Let me go one at a time. If you ask multiple questions, I'm only going to answer one anyway, so we'll come back. I promise. I talk quickly. Go ahead.
Dr. Oz, thank you. And I actually have two, but we see what you like.
I'll answer one. Pick one.
Well, the first is on most favored nations, the policy. I was hoping that you could explain why the administration thinks it's important to pass legislation codifying these deals. Is the fear that a future president might walk away, and what you make of the congressional pushback? And also on my tragedy derived from Kratom, President Trump has expressed interest. Can you describe the debate within the administration on that?
Let me answer the first one, because there's not a big debate on the second one. The reality around the most favored nation drug pricing is the president has dealt with the entire problem for this administration. But these contracts expire after this administration is done. So like so many things the president's trying to do, he's trying to set it up for the next administration so that they don't have to fight the same battle. Now, it's going to be difficult for pharmaceutical companies to pull back. But we still believe it makes sense for Congress to codify what we've been able to achieve, because it's been so helpful. Think about the $600 billion of savings to the average American over the next 10 years. It's just a massive number that they voluntarily sort of gave back because the president went after them and said, you got to deal with this problem. And by the way, when we knocked on the door of these pharmaceutical company leaders, you know what they said? We knew one day you'd come for us. They weren't surprised. They knew that this couldn't continue. So the president wants Congress, which I know has a lot on its plate, but there are ongoing discussions around the great healthcare plan. Just last week, the Workforce Committee pushed something out that is going to be on PBM reform, pharmacy benefits management companies, so the middlemen that often are involved between the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies. So there's other parts of the legislation moving forward. But just to remind you, the great healthcare plan is codifying most favored nation drug pricing so it lasts for decades into the future, as we believe it should. This is all forward-looking, doesn't hurt these companies today, just make sure America is protected in the future. We want plain English insurance policies so you can actually understand the document that you're being given. We want transparency so you go to a hospital, to a doctor's office, that you actually know what you're getting. Guys, as a doctor, when I prescribe something for you, I often don't know what it's going to cost you to pick up what I just told you to get. These are things that are fixable, and the pharmacy benefits is another part of this. Let's go to, I'm going to back, Daily Wire, Mary.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Right over here. Thank you. My colleague Luke Rosiak just reported, and he's done a lot on this. His investigations into Medicaid fraud and home health have repeatedly brought him to foreign-born healthcare operators. Is CMS tracking what percentage of home health recipients are refugees or foreign-born, and why are foreigners using these programs at such higher rates than for Americans?
Well, we are tracking illegal immigrants taking advantage of all healthcare plans. We've already recouped, we've actually told California they owe us $2 billion. We've got half of it back already. I'm confident we'll get the rest because they have state-based programs that we don't have a lot of visibility into, but because of the Working Families Tax Cut legislation and other rulemaking, we are no longer allowing foreign folks who are here illegally to benefit from these programs. And just to put it in context, in California, if you're on Medi-Cal, the Medicaid program in California, until this administration, you got full dental and full vision benefits. Now, I'm for those benefits. I like them, but we don't give that to Medicare patients. And so we should at least be equitable, and all of us together should decide what we are going to do as a nation. So if we as a country decide we're going to go in one direction, you can't have states splintering off if they're going to spend the other people's money. The fraud, for example, that I'm talking about, and the use of money for illegal immigrants, the people who pay that bill when it, for example, the largesse of California allows folks to get benefits that the rest of the country doesn't think is appropriate for illegal immigrants or home health care providers, that money is paid by folks who are taxpayers in New Mexico, which is a blue state, and Mississippi, a red state. So this is not partisan. Everybody is taxed extra and has to put more into the kitty because some states are doing things that we don't think as a country, well, we would like to have happen. That's why this administration has been so dogged in this issue and why the president has been so aggressive. Go ahead, Mary.
On Ebola, if Kenya does end up blocking the U.S. quarantine facility there, and it seems like they might since the Kenyan courts are delaying it, where will Americans who have been exposed end up going? And then why can't they just come to the United States? I mean, I think you would probably agree that the U.S. has pretty good healthcare here. So where will they go and why not to the U.S.?
Jennifer, the main issue with having a facility close to the Democratic Republic of the Congo is if a patient is sick. Again, I'll speak as a heart doctor. I want to take the patient to the OR that's right next door to the room they're sick in, not to the building next to them or to 3 buildings 2 blocks away, because that time is precious to us. You have a golden hour in many of these instances around trauma, but for illnesses, it's also relatively short. So we are confident, and the State Department's working on this diligently, that they're going to be able to work out something with Kenya. There has already been a fair amount of communication around this issue. We have and that's about it. There's a UK base there. We have other people who might be willing to welcome us, and we have our German colleagues as well. So there's many places we can send folks, but sending them across the world, especially when we're not sure what's going on with them, is probably not the wisest move. In red, take it away.
Thank you so much. Alina Shirazi from the Daily Mail. This is the 4th checkup that the president has had. He's supposed to have 1 a year. He's had several CT heart scans. What are the doctors looking for? And second question, I think you might like this one better. Who has been your favorite cabinet secretary so far to do the briefings at the podium?
That may not be my favorite question. I mean, they're all obviously different. I think Scott Besant's dry humor is fabulous. Marco is just an earnestly funny person. We can tell all kinds of stories about Marco's entertaining commentary. I think JD was spectacular. He's just very on his game, understands the issues, and he understands the American people, which is I appreciated his presentation so much. And I did watch them all, by the way, just to prepare. I'm a doctor. I try to do my homework. I prep for the case. The first issue was about Ebola. No,
about President Trump's
examinations.
He's had 4 already. The president's supposed to have 1 a year.
Yeah. So I actually have talked to the president about what he's sent to all of you. And I think it's just a routine, regular exam. You remember I had the president on my show 10 years ago, and he also presented records. And at the time, I was stunned at how well he was doing, because so many of these numbers naturally over time will start going in the wrong direction. But if you look at these records, they're spectacular. His cholesterol, his blood pressure, all the numbers are showing in excellent parameters. His ability, and listen, I work with him frequently. Many of you get to see him almost every day. That amount of energy and that amount of mental acuity does not exist in a vacuum. You have to have a vessel to carry it. And the president has unique ability to just keep going at all hours of the day with remarkable strength. Let's go. Right behind you. Yeah.
So the administration has been stressing reshoring manufacturing, pharmaceutical manufacturing is part of that. From those announcements of those 17 pharmaceutical companies, what's the timeline that we could see those projects come to fruition? Is it summer? Is it end of this year?
Well, these companies are already making investments in America. Some are ongoing, some have announced. I went to a ribbon cutting in one in Charlottesville recently. And so there's a lot of investment coming to America. But think about what you would do if you're a pharma executive. If you're a pharma executive and America's open for business and we're trying to support innovation, saving people from, cancer, autoimmune problems, dementia, all these different, you want to be where the action is. So these companies are coming here. It's actually a brain drain from Europe in particular, but other parts of the world as well, of companies who want to come here. So it's not just that we're already going, it's going to get bigger and bigger and louder. No, the jobs are starting when the first time you hire someone to build a plan for you, we have a job. If you're asking for people with picks and helmets, that's also coming quickly. But again, I've been to facilities that are already under construction. So they're starting and and the president and I visited a facility in Cincinnati a few months ago that again, they already have the facility. They're already running the facility. They're making additional investments to upgrade their program. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I know this isn't your wheelhouse, but you are speaking on behalf of the White House today. Can you respond to any of the criticism from Republicans on President Trump's decision to tap Bill Pulte, who has no known intelligence experience, as acting DNI?
Well, I think Bill is a great guy. I know him socially. I've not worked with him in his current job, but I do trust the president's judgment. He is a very sharp and quick study of people, their emotional abilities, and their ability to persevere in the face of hardship. So I have confidence in his decision. Yes, ma'am.
Back on Ebola, given the World Cup coming up and millions of visitors coming to the United States, on the U.S. preparation for this, who is in charge of proactive surveillance measures and what type of surveillance will the United States be doing for visitors coming in? Will that be expanded beyond the DRC, Uganda, and Sudan? Can you describe what is in place, knowing this influx of people coming soon?
So Jay Bhattacharya, who I spoke to this morning, who is our brilliant leader of the NIH, but also CDC now, is running this program. He's got a lot of help from Dr. Heidi Overton and many others at the White House. So it's a well-constructed game plan. They aggressively got into, and they're funding now, a lot of the treatments that are being offered in the DRC and the Kenya facilities, just an extra way for us to take folks who are Americans who need help. But we have very purposefully put up testing tools and mechanisms at the major airports that people will be traveling through. I have great confidence in Jay's ability. He's a brilliant scientist and knows a lot about viruses. He wrote one of the most important papers really describing the true reality of what was happening during COVID early in the pandemic. It got him in the hot water because it was not convenient to hear it, but he's a brave man who will make the right decisions and be transparent about it. In pink.
Just back to the question about Bill Pulte, congressional statute says any appointee for the position of the Director of National Intelligence shall have extensive national security expertise. What extensive national security expertise does he have?
Ma'am, you're asking me a question that's out of my lane. I'm so focused on making sure Americans are healthy that I have not been looking at what other agencies are. MAH, go ahead.
Dr. Oz.
Yellow tie, go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Okay. That was fun. Dr. Oz, just now you said that it should be surprising to people that personal care service attendant is now by twofold the most common job in California and the most common job in New York. The U.S. healthcare industry has been growing rapidly, 7 to 8% annually. It's an estimated $5.3 trillion in growth. Healthcare accounts for about 18% of GDP. Why should people be surprised that in two of the most populous states in the country, a healthcare-related job like that would be a common job when it is, again, one of the fastest growing and continuously growing industries in the U.S.? I mean, what's going on here?
The primary difference between paying for a hernia operation and paying someone to be a personal care service is the reason it's concerning to us. If you're having a hernia operation, you have a scar. So I know you got something, and you have a doctor who is licensed, and you had it done in a facility that's also credentialed and has been inspected. When you get personal care services as an unlicensed person in an unmonitored setting, promising they did something, that's a lot of handshakes and, finger crossing and hoping that it worked out okay. This is a problem that has been growing for years. It's just gotten now to a crisis mode. It is just difficult to imagine that it's twice as many jobs as anything else. It's not that healthcare jobs aren't important. Of course they are. But if we put guardrails around these programs, we'll allow them to thrive. I'm here because I love Medicaid. The president has already said he loves and cherishes Medicaid and Medicare. Medicaid in particular is the ultimate payer of last resort. We cannot allow these programs to be defrauded into a turmoil that they cannot pull up from. And so if we love these programs, we'll make the difficult decisions. Let me pivot from that just to describe what came out yesterday, which is the work requirement rule that our agency, and Dan Brillman and Capri Snap did a fantastic job writing this, dealt with a lot of states. But as you know, in the Working Families Tax Cut legislation, which I believe saved Medicaid. And the reason I say that is our actuarials told us we would be spending $5.4 trillion more for this program over the next decade if we didn't deal with some of the legalized money laundering that was siphoning money out of the program. Part of the reason that this is so attractive to states is they could take money in ways that it was not designed to be used, paying people along the way so they didn't have to pay for it themselves. I get it. I understand why the governors did it, but it didn't align the president with the governors. With that law, we also had a work requirement rule. Now, what was that? The work requirement was based on concepts that date back from when Bill Clinton was president, with the temporary assistance for needy families. When the Democratic administration said the fraud is getting so bad, the abuse so big in these programs, we need to clean them up. We need to get people to try to work. It's a path to prosperity. I hope you share this belief, that we're put on this earth with agency to change our future, change the country's future, make the planet a better place. We're put here to make a difference. But if you're sitting at home, which is true for the millions of people who are able-bodied on Medicaid, on average, you're spending 6.1 hours watching television or just hanging around. That's not why you're here. So as a path to prosperity, Congress very wisely said, let's get you back into the workforce. Let's require you to get free healthcare coverage, to be able to work for 20 hours a week, or volunteer to make up the difference if you haven't worked 20 hours, or get an education, just participate. And so that rule came out. It's I think, beautifully written effort to try to define for our nation what your part of the puzzle is. Because if you are going to get something that of value from the American people, there should be some obligation, if you're able to. If you're not able to, if you're disabled, if you're, and one of the categories that are well defined in general, not able to work, it's different. But if you can work, you should get up and work again, because that's historically how it always was. In 1965, when Medicaid was created, that was the deal. There were 11 million people in the program. We perverted that. Yes, sir.
Doctor, thank you. Since you're here speaking on behalf of the administration, part of the reason we're asking about the president's decision to appoint Bill Pulte to be the head of national intelligence is it's been 4 hours and we've been asking the White House why he's qualified to do so. You're a heart surgeon or a heart doctor?
Yeah.
Would you recommend a patient go see someone who isn't?
You're asking the question with the premise that Bill Pulte is not qualified. I don't know anything about his situation. And I appreciate you want an answer. I'm not going to be the one giving it to you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. This is Elizabeth with the Daily Signal. What are you doing, first of all, to remove any illegal immigrants who are still receiving Medicaid from the program? You mentioned earlier that's something you've been working on. And then secondly, Medicaid reimbursement for Planned Parenthood will resume July 4th unless Congress acts to extend the One Big Beautiful bill. As CMS administrator, what's your message to Congress on that?
On the illegal immigrant side, I'll take one question at a time, if you don't mind. Just a lot of folks. We have, because we now can do it, a very straightforward way for the 44 states that don't have state-based Medicaid plans for us to be able to audit if the people that we're paying for are citizens or not. In the state-based plans, like I mentioned in California, and there's a few other states, Colorado, Washington, et cetera, Illinois, they have their own plans. So we have to now audit their plans. This is a challenge, and that's why before I came here, I met with a bunch of Medicaid directors from many states, red and blue, and they want us to help rebuild the tech infrastructure of Medicaid in this country. Imagine 50 balkanized programs. You spend $20 billion a year, $20 billion for tech infrastructure, and we're not getting our money's worth. So we're putting $200 million more because of the Working Families Tax Cut legislation. We've got negotiated, Dan Brillman did $600 million of in-kind contributions from the vendors to be able to get the work requirement done in an effective way. But I think it's the first step of a much larger national opportunity to fix how data flows. And one more bit on this, Medicare's billing system, which many of your relatives are using, was a 1979 era COBOL-based system. I don't even have engineers who know how to use that system. And so if you're going to really use cloud-based tools, if you want to use technology to help Americans connect better with the healthcare system, you have to update them. The president has been supportive of this, so we are upgrading the system. And my hope is that we can use the tech transformation tools of this government to bring people to work with us from the private sector. And every major tech company is a partner of ours. Now, our pledge is 700. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to follow up on her question behind me. If the president's in such perfect health, why does he keep going back in for checkups?
I think he likes the results. He does really well. He aces the test every single day. And I do actually believe that he is curious to make sure everything is going in the right direction. He's a very meticulous person in so many ways that are often underappreciated. But for him to want to know all the numbers and keep on top of them, it's the same reason he calls people at odd hours, because something's on his mind. He wants to deal with it. Yes, in purple.
I wanted to ask about the UFC fight here at the White House next week. The president recently invested in the parent company of UFC. Is it a conflict of interest for him to be promoting this event while he's invested in UFC's parent company?
I don't think that the president of the Oval Office and makes individual investment decisions, but I don't know about that issue. But knowing him, I suspect someone else is making those decisions for him. But wait, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. The Obamacare subsidies expired earlier this year. What negative consequences have you seen, and do you see any policy adjustments that need to be made?
Let's talk about Obamacare. Let's take a step back. 2015, 16, 17, 18, 2020, there were 9 million people on Obamacare. 9 million. Today, it's more than 20 million. Like, what happened? What happened was we completely took the guardrails off. And I know this because I'm working in the agency that actually was told to take the guardrails off. And because there wasn't an earnest desire to keep track of whether you're appropriately on it or not, but more importantly, just get the number to where we all feel good about ourselves, we had massive increases of people joining the program. We believe that 35% roughly of the people that are using the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare exchanges, because they've never used the program once, they've never filed a claim, may not be legit. And that actual number may translate to, I don't know, 5-6 million people we could be paying premiums for because they don't have to contribute anything. So they don't even know they're getting it. These are people who have Medicaid, and someone, often a broker, is dishonestly enrolling them on in Affordable Care Act, or they're in 2 states at once getting full insurance paid for by us in multiple states at once. So we have evaluated these numbers. They're extremely concerning. There's a very strong effort by us. We actually made a rule 2 weeks ago that starts the process. We had tried to do this when we first came into office. A court enjoined us. They did not feel we'd followed appropriate APA guidelines, government guidelines. And so we redid it and now went back out again. But if you care about the ACA, then you want us to take the fraud out. And let me just take a step back. If we want you to go back to work on Medicaid, what's going to happen? You're going to start making money. As you make money, you're going to make enough money. You get above the poverty level, you're going to want to buy an Affordable Care Act product, or private industry. Commercial insurers are going to start using it. That's a good thing. We're getting America back up. They're getting into work, getting them into the stratosphere, building prosperity. So we want these programs to work together. But if you've got millions of people, literally, who are getting insurance that they don't want, they don't even know they have it, and we're all paying for it, that's tens of billions of dollars we're throwing away. That increases premiums for everybody. It drives affordability down. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. Sir, in the back, in the beard. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rose. We are happy to see you. I'm sorry, I will ask two questions because I'm Turkish American.
No, only one question. Doesn't matter. One question.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and American president has a good relations. And there's a report they are going to meet in Turkey and United States game in Los Angeles. Have you heard about it? And also there's a NATO summit in Turkey in July. So you're Turkish American. I don't know. Do you have any idea? Are you going to join? And what you're thinking about Erdogan and Trump relations?
I have no idea about these meetings. I've not been invited to anything. I suspect I won't be invited to everything because I've got a lot of work to do here. I'll give it right there. Go ahead. Good.
Sir.
Yeah.
Jordan Conrad's Gateway Pundit, back to the illegal aliens on Medicare and Medicaid. Last October, you announced that you had found over $1 billion in federal tax dollars going to illegal aliens. How much has that amount increased as of today? And, it's kind of like fish in a barrel. Are these people being referred to immigration for prosecution and deportation?
The number has doubled from what I said last year. We're about $2 billion. The good news is that many states realize this is a problem and they themselves have stopped doing this. Listen, it's the same basic story again and again. We as a nation make a decision because we're one people. Individual states have to take that decision and use it to the best of their ability. Some states don't do as good a job as other states. That's why we're looking to individual states for leadership, for better ideas to deal with many of these social problems that unfortunately begin to pile up over time, and they threaten the very foundation of our social net that supports all of us. That's why this matters so much. If you quiz the vice president, he grew up in an environment where he saw people abuse this. I know that's the case of people who are in the task force right now, the anti-fraud White House task force. So there's a passion about this, and for good reason. I mean, the president calls the vice president Elliot Ness. He wants him, he likes the fact that he's taking this seriously, he's going at it, and he's doing what's best for the American people by making some tough decisions. One last question, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Back to Bill Pulte, but with the national security angle. The president has pushed very hard to renew FISA, Section 702. Expires in 10 days, just ahead of the World Cup. And there's this heightened threat environment with the war in the Middle East. We've heard all these intel agencies talk about the threat environment these days and how people can be very concerned about it. On Capitol Hill, you've had lawmakers today raising concern about Bill Pulte, and on the Democrat side, questioning his ability to carry out that role fairly and not weaponize it. What can you say about to allay their concerns? And can you also answer a question that was posed by Susan Collins about whether Pulte has a security clearance himself?
And I don't know anything more about Bill Pulte than you do. I did not think that would be one of the questions that would even come up here. I hadn't even heard the news when I walked out. Okay, let me leave you with, we have one last question, but I do want to. Okay, go ahead, ask me. I'll come to you. I have a GOP question. What's your question?
Thank you.
Very
Do you
quick.
have any medical advice for the Americans out there that are suffering from a very serious ailment called Trump derangement syndrome?
I am concerned about folks who have focused their entire life energy on dislike of the president. It's disheartening to see people lost in that way, but it's treating stupid is really hard, and it becomes a real problem. And these folks are off. The GLP-1s.
Thank you very much.
Let me just answer because I'm out of time. And
Very quick one. Are Americans getting real deal medication, brand name like Wegovy, Ozempic, or it will be generic on Trump Rx at $50 monthly rate?
The Trump RX product is the real deal, the true API, the pharmaceutical product that's made by the two major providers right now, which are Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. There are other companies coming into the space. We have these products that are given by these companies as part of this deal. So we like to use the real product to be able to satisfy the needs of the American consumer. It's a brand name. It's a brand name. Last question from the middle. Go, last question. Take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. So Kenya basically has stopped, has asked US not to build the quarantine facility there. And the people, the responders from here who are supposed to go there, do you think the Trump administration's policy of not allowing people who are exposed, Americans who are exposed to the virus, come back to the US will dissuade these responders from going there?
No, I think we're going to work out with Secretary Rubio's leadership a very favorable arrangement with Kenya. I've been to Kenya. It's a beautiful country, very sophisticated people. They're going to do the right thing for everybody, and I think it's a perfect solution. I thank you very much for letting me participate. God bless you all. Take care.
Microplastics.
On the illegal immigrant side, I'll take one question at a time, if you don't mind. Just a lot of folks.
Let me stop this and come to you. Very interesting. I'm a mess, by the way. I went for a long walk with Jasper. It started raining outside, and so I'm a little bit of a mess tonight, so bear with me, my friends, but I'm excited to be with you. Really excited to be with you, and I'm going to tell you why. Excuse me. Let me just quiet the screen here a little bit, and I'm going to get to Pulte. This is really key. But I did want to address a couple things from the chat. As you know, I guess I read your stuff as I'm watching along. And one of the things I wanted to say, thank you, Dina, for your $50 donation. Very much appreciate you. Also, Sheila, I did get your donation. Thank you very much. And I apologize if I didn't mention you. It might have been in between shows, but I really appreciate that. Your $30 donation, Sheila Christek. So thank you very, very much for that. Let me bring my mic a little bit closer. And also, I want to give a shout out because this was also on May 28th, Margaret Goldsmith. Thank you for your $25 donation. This was back several days ago. Let's talk about central casting for a moment. I believe that's the original Dr. Oz. Okay. Now, here's the thing about central casting. Just because Trump calls it central casting doesn't mean it's somebody different. It means they're reading a script. It means they're an actor in this play, in this show, and they're reading a script that they wouldn't otherwise read, which makes them an actor, right? Now, do I think some have been dealt with? I don't get too caught up in that simply because you got to be pretty stupid to not capitulate to President Trump during this whole thing. If they come to you and they say, we know you did horrible things to children, we know you did this, we know you did this, we have video, we have proof, and you're going to die for that, for treason, for crimes against children. You're either going to do life in prison or you're going to die for that. But if you read our script over the next several years, and I say several because remember, we know for a fact that the Biden inauguration was not shot live. That means everybody there knows that he wasn't the real president, including 6 Supreme Court justices. Okay. This is very important information. They have been playing out this show for quite some time. That's how deeply ingrained and deeply entrenched the mainstream media has the mass population. This is the unveiling, the unraveling of the cabal that we are witnessing. We are getting mad comms from POTUS and from the team, the Q team. So Maggie's reaching through the screen to fix my hair. Yeah, what's going on back here? I've got like it's going all over the place here. Yeah. Normally I'm not this bad. Normally I'm a little more coiffed for my sned heads here, but this sned head is not looking too good right now. What's going on? So it was a busy day, all good. So my friends, welcome. So that's what I wanted to say about the central casting. Okay. So yeah, Edward, kind of addressing what you were saying about Dr. Oz. Like I think that's the real Dr. Oz. I do. Now, can I prove that? No. Can we prove that it's not? No. But I can prove that he is working with and for Q and Q plus. That we know for sure, right? And so, yeah. let's see. Yeah, we've got a big storm here. Absolutely. We've got a big storm. And it seems to have calmed a little bit. So I want to get into Pulte. I want to get into LA. Folks, if you haven't voted in California, please go do so if the polls are still open in your neck of the woods. But I want to take you, I got to show you this fabulous ad, get you excited about LA, about what's happening in LA. And then I'm going to get into Bill Pulte. Hey, with all of those questions from the Mockingbird media about Pulte and his qualifications, challenging his qualifications. Meanwhile, how many of the press said, wow, President Trump is saving seniors and Americans in general billions, okay, over the coming years in healthcare costs of pharmaceuticals. Wow. Dr. Oz, how did President Trump pull that off? How about that question? How about a question that actually acknowledges something really positive that President Trump has done? Instead, he did get the question, you as a medical professional, do you have any medical advice for those suffering from TDS? Great question. Trump derangement syndrome. That it caught him off guard. I think if he had a little notice, he would come up with a better answer. But it was a great answer because he said it concerns me that so many people have spent their life just completely obsessed with this man and negative feelings towards him. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was a good answer, and it shows his loyalty to President Trump. So this is, but this is true, and the Mockingbird media obviously has it. The guy up front, who thinks he's so fucking cool. He's got a front row seat. I don't even know him because I don't pay attention to those assholes. What do we know about Bill Pulte? And you're a heart doctor, right? Would you recommend somebody to see somebody who's not a doctor? What a dumb fuck thing to say. It's like, but this is why they're all puppets. They're not coming up with this shit. Listen, you could put 10 of those people into one of my IQ. Okay. They're puppets. Puppets. All right. They are told what to ask. And when they're not asking a question, they're on their phones. Ba, 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 ba. They don't even hear the shit that's going on. They don't even hear that 4 other people asked about Bill Pulte. And he said, I don't know. I don't know the guy outside of social situations. I don't know his qualifications. I didn't even know that he was chosen before I walked in here as the interim head of the DNI, by the way, okay, to replace Tulsi when she steps out. By the way, prayers up for Abraham, her husband, who is getting the bone cancer surgery today. I don't know exactly what they got going on, but prayers up for that family. And I'm going to get into Pulte here in a little bit, but I want to go to LA first. But sure enough, it's obvious that they don't want Pulte because the powers that be gave these talking points to these Muppets to ask about Pulte and to challenge his qualifications. So that's, that's just obvious that they don't like this guy. They don't like this choice, the powers that be, right? My camera's bouncing up and down. I gotta be a little bit more gentle with that. Sorry about that. And I don't want to get anybody busy or dizzy. I mean, but it has to do with my. I'll be happy. And I found out today that maybe in a month I'll be into my new place, and I'm looking forward to that because I'm in my temporary place right now. But anyway, but thanks for that heads up. Okay. Okay, so let me take you to one of the best political advertisements I have ever seen. Here we go. This is regarding LA. Listen, people are still voting in LA. They're not even going to know who won until, I don't know. Oh, and I'm going to show you my new mug here in a minute. But they won't even know who won for a couple of weeks, and it's so crooked. It's so unbelievable. But here we go.
Mr. Scrooge, elections tomorrow, no? Who are you voting for?
Karen Bass, of course. She's in my pocket, Maria. I'm her biggest donor.
What about Spencer Pratt? I hear he's good.
A reality star? Bah, humbug.
By the way, Mr. Scrooge, do you mind getting me an Uber home? The bus is full of homeless drug addicts who smoke fentanyl and inject heroin.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Jacob Marley? My former business partner? But you're dead!
I supported California Democrats when I was alive, and now I've been condemned to walk the earth in chains. You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
I'm the ghost of LA past. Come with me. This is downtown LA in 2013. Wonderful, right? No hordes of homeless people pissing and shitting everywhere. Look, there's Bob Cratchit, the clerk at your store. He bought a condo and started a family. That's his son, Tiny Tim. This is MacArthur Park. Families having fun? Not worried about stepping on heroin needles? The Palisades. The neighborhood isn't burnt down. And the reservoirs are full, not empty. I must leave you now.
I am the ghost of LA present. Look at the Palisades under Karen Bass. Still burnt down after all this time. And just look at downtown. A tent city. MacArthur Park is an open-air drug market. I must leave you now. I am the ghost of LA future. This is the city after 4 more years of Karen Bass. MacArthur Park is a lost cause. Downtown has somehow gotten worse.
Is that Mr. and Mrs. Cratchit?
Yes, they're homeless now.
Where's Tiny Tim?
Tiny Tim is dead, stabbed to death by a homeless man.
No. No. No.
I'm the ghost of LA Pratt. This is LA after 8 years of Mayor Spencer Pratt. Kids can actually play at the park. The Palisades. Rebuilt.
What about Tiny Tim? Is he alive?
Yes. He goes to UCLA.
What day is it?
It's Tuesday. Election day.
There's still time? There's still time.
Time for what, Mr. Scrooge?
There's still time. Time to vote for the rest of the day off. Let's go vote for Spencer Pratt.
How about that? I mean, it just simply brilliant. The kind of work that's being done with Spencer Pratt. You know, people are doing this. It's not just his account. He's definitely using them, but other people are making a lot of these ads. So let everybody know, my gosh, if we've got to win LA back, because it's literally going to be it's going to be tragic if that communist wins again, just like it's going to be tragic in New York. It is tragic in New York because of Mandami communists, right? Excuse me. So they're all right in neck and neck in the low 20s, low to mid 20% in the polls. So we'll see what happens, but we'll hopefully Spencer Pratt will pull it off, and Steve Hilton as well as the governor, because we need to get rid of the trash that's there now. So, okay. Hey, I get back to Pulte, and I'm going to also get to Novak. By the way, in a moment. Here is Hunter Biden with a message. Let me share this with you. A brief message.
Hey, everybody. Just a quick message to say thank you to everybody who has messaged me today on 7 years clean and sober. I'm more proud of that than anything I've ever done in my life. And I just want everybody to know that is still out there sick and suffering, there's a way out. And that way out is together. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. And I'm just so grateful for all the love and support everybody has given me. So thank you again. Hey, everybody.
So
just a quick message.
So Hunter Biden supposedly has been sober for 7 years. And I said, congratulations, Hunter Biden. We're talking dog years, right? Fuck off. 7 years sober, my ass. You know, people have seen him. I mean, the comments are priceless in this whole thing. You know, Sir Oliver's asking, when did the abuse begin? How old were you when your father started abusing you? How old was your sister when your father started abusing her? I understand can sometimes lead to drug abuse, alcohol abuse. In many cases, you become a predator yourself. It's time to come clean, Hunter. We know your father was a piece of shit. Chase Geyser, I don't believe you, dude. I saw you tweaking on the balcony 4th of July in the White House. Wanda Mason, I think you need to go to prison for a while for some of the things you've done, but I do know that God will forgive you if you repent and turn away from your sins, plus make restitution to your victims, especially the children. I pray that you do what is right despite your demonic, sick, perverted father. Some people congratulate him legitimately. Hunter Biden email, Daniel Den says from 2011 that mentions a reception at Comet Ping Pong that I bet they had a Haitian special extra cheese. And then, of course, you've got people that are posting, you know, what about the White House cocaine? I don't believe you. The White House cocaine. My family is very religious. I'm a devout Catholic, and my son is a Crystal Methodist. Love that. Yeah, before he got his new teeth. Yeah, so this is some great comments. Sure you are. Yeah. So this is you know, don't take him seriously. Just don't, you know, I don't buy it. I don't take him seriously. He's a lying sack of shit. If he wants to come clean, he's got to come clean with a lot more. Aren't there 12 steps where you've got to really, you know what you're doing, and the also kind of the 12 steps. You got to apologize. You got to come clean with the things you've done wrong and apologize to people. Polymarket says European Union reaches deal to fast track the return of illegal migrants. I said about fucking time. This is something that is long overdue in Europe, and Europe has been conquered. I was just talking about this last night. I mean, this just tragic. What is happening in UK with young girls, and you are not angry enough. Okay, 11, 12, and 14 years old, raped for days by more than 20 Pakistani immigrants, tortured. One had her tongue nailed to the wall to keep her still while they raped her. Imagine that. The police ridiculed, insulted, and ignored them. The feminists turned the other way. If it hadn't been for Elon Musk, who publicly shared the trial testimonies, sparking outrage from Reform UK and internal investigations, no one would have known anything. You're not angry enough. Babetta123 posted this. God bless these children. Can you imagine? Just the terror. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Defender of the Republic breaking Delancey Hall arrest stats showed that of the 61 arrests, only 2 people reside in Newark. 59 people came from California, Colorado, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Minnesota, New Mexico, and Washington. That's because they're bussing them in, paid to travel to where they are needed. Okay? So let me take you to this tragic story out of the UK. Speaking of the UK, okay? This is got some good stuff to share with you. But first, and I'm going to get back to Pulte, this is what's happening. Let me go to this first, okay? This, my friends. Let me go to the whole thing. Let me go to the full video. This is 3 minutes, and if you don't want to see it, it's a bit disturbing. But it is the real story of Henry Nowak, who I started reposting about a couple of days ago when Elon started reposting, and to get the word out about this. Here it is, my friends. Let me play this for you. And if you don't want to deal with this, just go grab a snack, maybe turn the sound off. It's 3 minutes long. This was December in 2025. This is the police body cam footage.
My dad's talking about it. He keeps dropping side to side, so I'm just trying to keep him set up. He's got a mouthful of blood. I don't want him. I can't breathe. He was on the bin on the other side of this gate. He's jumped over these fences and stuff like that. And he's up here. Away, mate. He's obviously fallen from there and he slipped from there. There's other shooters left over there, mate.
What's your name, mate? Huh? Has anyone been hurt other than him?
Yeah, me. He's grabbed my brother. He's took my turban off. Started grabbing my head.
Are you injured?
Yeah, I've got swollen eye, little bruise.
All right, just step back a little bit for me. Someone flag these down.
Okay, stud.
Right, let's get you out of there, shall we? Oh.
I was in bed asleep. Whenever you find that, I can't breathe.
Grab his other arm.
What's
happened to you, alright?
Been stabbed.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? I don't think you have, mate. Hand?
I can't breathe.
Put the hand in the cuff, mate.
Yeah. This is like real times this has happened to us. You've been walking, you can't multiple times we've had people racistly attacked, nothing happened.
He's saying he's been stabbed, so
Where
let's
is it
just
you
check
think you've
him.
been stabbed? In the face? Oh no, but we have to check, don't we?
Right.
In the face?
Just get these back off, get their details on that, and I'll keep hold of him.
Should
Right, keep you on your side, mate. You got to retrieve then. Saying to him, keeping him on his side. We were set up when we had him here, but he didn't like it. What's your name, mate? At the moment, you are under arrest. That's for assault, so you do not have to say anything, may harm and defence. If you do not mention one question, it's up to which you later line in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence, all right? It's going to be sick, I think.
What's his name?
So I just want you to call it.
Yeah, we've got this male. He's
just
been beat up. Are we able to get an ambulance, please?
His pupils aren't even reacting.
Yeah.
People are appalled at this. I'm appalled at this. The police in England, their reputation has fallen so far. It's irredeemable. Okay. This is the young man, Henry Nowak, who was murdered by that Sikh immigrant, okay, that they carry around these knives, swords that are they say that they must, because it's a part of their religion, their Sikh religion, and they are able to stab somebody like this young man with those. The police, they're not going to recover from this. One of them has already resigned, by the way. This is the man
was used to take
stabbed
Henry's
him.
life.
And let's listen to Henry Nowak's father.
He should have been safe walking home. Instead, he became another young life lost to the brutal reality of knife crime in this country. Henry had been stabbed multiple times, and as his chest filled with blood, he tried to escape. He was chased, abused, and filmed by Vikram Digwa and others. When police arrived, Henry was lying on the floor, barely able to sit up and plainly in severe medical distress. With his final words, he told officers that he could not breathe. He told them he had been stabbed. In fact, Henry told officers that he could not breathe 9 times. He told them he had been stabbed 4 times. The response from one officer was, "I don't think you have, mate." The police have said they were misled by the murderer and that the scene when they arrived was complex. Unfortunately, it seems to us the truth is much simpler. The police were told by our son himself and by a member of the public who called 999 that they heard someone shout that they had been stabbed. But the police did not believe them. Henry was pulled across the gravel, his hands forced behind his back, and he was placed in handcuffs. Instead of being treated as a dying victim, police formally arrested Henry for assault and read him his rights. That was the last thing he heard. Henry did not die with dignity. He did not die with the care he deserved. He lost consciousness before anyone believed him. Let me be absolutely clear. We hold Vikram Digwa solely and 100% responsible for the brutal murder of our son. But Henry should not have died on the streets of Southampton in police custody. The way he was treated was inhumane and degrading. His murderer, however, was afforded decency. He was believed. He was not handcuffed when arrested. He was not handcuffed when transported to the police station. As far as we understand, he was never handcuffed at all. And, as Vikram Digwa himself told the court, whilst under arrest for Henry's murder, police even took him to the kitchen so he could choose his food. The contrast is unbearable. We believe the officers involved remain on duty, although we understand some may have since resigned. One was allowed to leave the force before she had given an account to the Independent Office of Police Conduct of what happened that evening. The IOPC investigation remains ongoing. Whilst we await its final report, we are calling on the Home Secretary to ensure that the IOPC has the resources, authority, and independence it needs to conduct a full, fearless, and transparent investigation. Our families should not have to fight for the truth anymore. Despite the shocking actions of the police on that fatal night, the murder investigation was very different. We would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Senior Investigating Officer DCI Rebecca Bartholomew, the Serious Crime Team, and particular officer in the case, Claire Proctor. We would also like to thank our incredible family liaison officers, Sarah Page and Trudy May, for their diligence, professionalism, and compassion throughout this investigation. We would also like to thank the CPS, as well as Nick Lobenberg, KC, and Neil King, for their outstanding advocacy skills in prosecuting this case. In our darkest period of our lives, knowing that people were fighting tirelessly for Henry gave us strength. They secured justice for our son, and for that, our family will be forever grateful. For us, there is no closure. There is no moment where the pain stops. There is no moment where the Henry-shaped hole in our family is filled. We will carry this grief every single day for the rest of our lives. But today matters. Today, Henry was believed. The truth has been recognized. Today, justice, in the eyes of the law, has been served. But justice alone is not enough. We want to use Henry's heartbreaking story to make change for the better. We do not want his death to be used to create further division, hatred, or tension. We want his story to make our streets safer for everyone. That is why we are calling on the government to treat knife crime as the national emergency that it is. We need real solutions. We need investment in prevention. We need stronger action on the sale, the ownership, and carrying of all knives. And as this case so painfully demonstrates, we need common sense applied to our laws. This doesn't mean knee-jerk reactions. This doesn't mean going to extremes. It just means a common sense approach to law and order. As the case C for the prosecution summed up in court, this is not a case about Sikhism. This is not a case about racism. This is a case about murder. People should not be able to walk openly through the streets of Britain carrying a 21-centimeter blade. As a family, we will not let this go. No other family should experience the heartbreak and horror of losing a child to knife crime. Finally, I want Henry to know, wherever he is, we are so proud of him and we love him beyond words.
Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. God bless this man. God bless his mother and his family. What a tragedy. And I want to show you something that kind of gives context to what was going on with this particular man. This was Vikram Digwa in a road rage encounter, brandishing the same sword that he killed this.
Recording him.
See how thin that sword is?
What's the big problem? Not nice, not nice, not nice.
Do samochodu, kurwa! Do
No, kurwa,
samochodu
nice.
właśnie.
Brandon sword.
Recording him. Come on, man.
Właśnie do samochodu, koniec. Właśnie.
He's a little man.
Właśnie.
He's barely taller than that fucking.
Do samochodu, kurwa! Do samochodu
He
właśnie.
needs a knife to be able to beat anybody because he's a fucking midget and he's a coward. And he killed this young man. And the police are just as worthless as you can absolutely be. Okay. This is the crusade of 2026. Make no mistake about this, my friends. This is the modern day crusade. And the Muslims are winning. They're conquering our birth rate in Europe. They're trying to do it here in the US, but we're not as bad as Europe yet. They're conquering Europe in birth rate. They're conquering them in prayer, public displays of prayer, their prayer being broadcast around the cities. They are raping our women. I say our because I'm talking about European Caucasians and others, but primarily European Caucasians, which I am of Dutch descent, a little bit of English as well. We all are primarily. And they are murdering our people, our young men. Every man they murder, every woman they rape, those people aren't going to have children. The women that were raped, the young girl that had her tongue nailed to a wall while she was raped, do you think she's going to have a healthy, happy family? This man can't have a family. He can't reproduce. They're murdering our people. They're raping our women and murdering our women. And this would be, if it was, and you know, various incidents that weren't numerous, that would be one thing. But they've said this is what they want to do. They've talked about this. I'm not familiar with the Sikh. I'm not familiar with that. But what's happening in Europe is absolutely tragic. Okay. And so what's going on now? Well, they're not happy, folks. This is what's happening in England right now. Not right now because it's dark there, but here we go.
Come on! Fucking heaven! Who's that guy in the suit?
Fucking separate in the room.
He's come back 100 years ago, geezer! Fucking hell!
Yeah.
He's come to show you how it's done! Fucking like him! Go on, Mr. Moustache Man.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. All right then. Yeah. How about you punch? How does that feel? How does that feel, Walker?
Betray! Betray! You fucking bitches! Betray!
People are pissed. This is leading to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make that so small. Normally I have it like this, but people are pissed and they're done with this shit. Okay? They're done. People are just fucking done. And this is leading to this is going to lead to a civil war in Europe. Make no mistake. This is absolutely tragic what has taken place here. God bless Henry Nowak and his family. The police need to wake the fuck up. They're doing, it's just, let me shift gears. All right. Let me shift gears to some humor with JP Sears. I'm a little down on JP because he's not a Q guy and he's been bashing President Trump, but he kind of puts Pride Month in a very interesting perspective here.
Bro, as a heterosexual, this is the month that everyone should recognize and celebrate my sexuality, which has always been a fantasy of mine. It's kind of hot. What do I take the most pride in? My values, my accomplishments, my morals, how I treat people. No, I take the most pride in where I stick my penis. Women. I think vaginas are terrific. Yes, I think corporations should do special hetero logos for this month. I mean, it's their job to make me feel sexually validated. And if they don't, I'll take my business elsewhere. Okay? As great as this month is, some people don't like to celebrate. They're like, oh, sexuality is something that should be expressed privately. Well, public displays of sexuality are a real turn on for me, and I need to use other people for that, with or without their consent, because it honors my bravery as a person. Yeah, I just live a few houses down. I have a penis between my legs. This is locked. Sexuality is the last thing that should be private. It's not that hard to celebrate Hetero Pride Month. All you have to do is ask yourself, how can I sexualize everything I do? It's appropriate. This is the month to be loud and proud. Last night I told this lady, I'm hetero, like aggressively. Vaginas are just where it's at for me. And she was like, I'm just trying to sell you Girl Scout cookies. And I was like, how can you when you don't know this about me? So she started crying and I was proud. So empowering.
Hey, how's it going, neighbor?
I'm aroused by women. I honestly don't understand why some people have to be so heterophobic and not be interested in my sexuality this month. It's like when a guy goes to a park and exposes his private parts to a stranger. What's wrong with that?
It makes the stranger feel violated.
Violated? Why can't they be interested? Show some solidarity with me, bigot. Wonder why they call them private parts. Doesn't make sense. You'd think they'd be called public parts. I think they should do a remake of Brokeback Mountain for my community. Little hetero representation would be nice. It's one thing if you make everything about you, that kind of makes you a narcissist. But if you make everything about your sexuality, what's that?
Perverted.
Brave. Oh, hey, do you want to know where I like to stick my penis?
No, not at all.
Well, I want you to know.
Get away from me, creep.
In women.
I'm calling the cops.
I'm being brave. That's discrimination right there. Because I'm hetero. Well, not watching the NBA anymore. Their logo's not catering to my sex drive. Yes, sexuality is a basic physiological function that all animals in nature have. But I take pride in my other physiological functions as well. Like bowel movements. Like a month for that too. My penis is attracted to vaginas. This is what I base my identity on. Because I want to get the most out of life. And hopefully this month can inspire many others to do the same.
Seems kind of interesting when you put the shoe on the other foot and you just kind of replace the absurdity that we're being expected to follow along and be a part of. Just interesting perspective. You know, it's not, it's just the absurdity of the reality that we're walking through right now is really incredible. My friends, Holly Marsh sent me this incredible mug, and I want to show it to you. Look at this mug. This is the deer, and look at Jasper, and look at the moon, and look at the trees. Isn't that fantastic? And look at how the deer nose comes out. And by the way, the difference between, and it's a big mug, by the way, I could probably put all my water. I don't need to pour additional water, probably all my water for one show in this. But isn't that absolutely fantastic? Thank you, Holly, for just this incredible, incredible mug. It's just so hefty. Look at the size of that thing. It's bigger than my head. Well, nothing's bigger than my head. But no, I get a little kiss from that. And look at Jasper. Look at Jasper. Isn't that cool? So thank you, Holly. It was so well packed, too. Like it was 3 boxes, maybe 4. Boxed within boxed within boxed. Just an incredible, beautiful, beautiful mug. Thank you. And yeah, great depiction of Jasper there. And what I was going to say is the difference, and cheers, everybody. Cheers. The difference between where Jasper and I were and where we are now is that he can chase the deer and he doesn't have a fence. He does, but it's much farther out. So he can chase them across the field and get some real exercise and play with them. And one deer the other day kept coming back to get him to chase him. He was like literally playing with Jasper. And it was really cool. So Jasper's loving it. He's sleeping right now because we went on a long walk. He's got a pond that he goes into. It's really what a blessing to be where we're at right now. And yeah, so and I was thinking about today, I'm gonna get back to my walk and talks too. So thank you, Holly. What a sweet, incredible, beautiful work of art that you've shared with me, that I can now share with the Snedheads. How cool is that, folks? Right? Yeah, let me get your comments up here. So let's see. Yeah. Gorgeous, right? Right? Isn't that incredible? Sheila, isn't that awesome? Mug is amazing. Awesome, right? The cup is beautiful. Amazing. Yeah. You know, half truths. It's like, read the room. You know what I mean? Just read the room. You know, we're talking about the mug, and you got to talk about either Voice to Skull or America's the Evil of the World. Just read the fucking room and have a clue. And don't make me fucking silence you again, but just have a clue, right? Thank you, Holly. And the colors, yeah, they're beautiful, right? Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, awesome. And by the way, Holly, maybe, I don't know if you want to do this for people, but if people want a mug, maybe they could, reach out to you. Maybe you could take a small percentage and support the show, right? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, right. And my address. Yes, thank you. This is where Holly sent it. Yeah. Let's see. Right? Yeah, a lot of great comments here. Very cool. Yeah, so yeah, and please hit the thumbs up for me, both on X on, the like on X, the heart on X, the like on YouTube, the like on Rumble. And we lost D Live. We don't have D Live anymore. D Live is no longer. So this is, by the way, let me just share this with you real quick, and then I'm going to get back to Pulte. A whistleblower has leaked Stanford's private foreign funding records to the Review, revealing millions in funding from Chinese state-linked entities and CCP donors. My friends, this is why, I want to see UCLA. Major Chinese influence. This is how they do it, right? Yeah. And by the way, Trump went off on Netanyahu today. I got to talk about this. My gosh. What the fuck are you doing? You're fucking crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this. Folks, what have I said to you about what's happening with Israel and how Trump is allowing them to expose themselves, allowing Netanyahu and his puppet masters to absolutely expose themselves? And I got to take you to the bookmarks on this because I have it. Excuse me, I have it queued up. Let me get to it here. I got a lot on Novak, and I've got Hunter. Oh, by the way, Tellerico. This is how they're portraying Tellerico now. They're giving him a 5 o'clock shadow, right, or a little stubble, a cowboy hat. This is after he says we're a no meat campaign in Texas, right, which is the meat capital of the world. The steer and the cows and the beef and all that. He's a soy boy. And he's trying to act like a cowboy now. And this is backfiring. Snark NATO says, the more I think of this picture, the more I have to laugh. Democrats are straight up delusional. They are tanking hard with men. So their solution, this is really comical. The guy thinks there's six genders, by the way. Okay. They are tanking hard with men, so their solution. I can't keep a straight face with this clown. Oh my God! So their solution is to shove forward this limp-wristed Tellerico clown who hates everything real Texas stands for. Now they slap a pristine cowboy hat and 5 o'clock shadow on him, and parade him around like some cheap parody of the oil field grit, ranching, farming, and hunting culture we live every day. Real Texans smell this plastic consultant bullshit from a mile away. We're not voting for this man boy. Okay. Oh my God. I mean, that's really, folks, this is how absolutely absurd this is. Now I gotta go to the other one that I bookmarked, which was the most recent one. Let me make sure I have the bookmarks pulled up first. Here it is. This one, Jason Howerton, who I'm going to follow for this comment. Meet James. He's a rootin' tootin' Texan who drives a Chevy in a cowboy hat and eats barbecue with a napkin. As a born and raised Texan, I am definitely falling for this. It is super duper convincing. He's just like me. Meanwhile, I wonder, did they probably had to get him out of the Tesla. I'm gonna share this one too, because this is a double whammy. It is just too damn good. I'm telling you, folks, I am crying right now. Crying. That's how absolutely ridiculous this is. Whoo, he's probably scared of horses. Polar Bear Paws says 6 genders, that'll pull in a lot of votes. Not. Telefrico calls women neighbors with uterus. I like limp dick better, more fitting. Right, that's crazy. Any updates on California election? I don't think so. I'm gonna grok it right now, but I think that that what we're seeing here. Oh, excuse me. It's going to be a week long. I think it's going to be a week long. Yeah. By the way, N Wokeness said, I wonder why the left isn't out doing this for Henry Nowak. I can't breathe, which like they did for George Floyd. By the way, a lot of people are equating what's happening right now. Dave, be careful around that pond. Maybe have snapping turtles and snakes. I'm not afraid of either, but thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for the hard laughter. I am losing it right now. Oh my gosh. Keeps his beer on a coaster. Yeah. Let's see. I saw one today that said one woman ever accused Barack Obama of having sex with them. That's a great point, Penny, for your thoughts. Yeah, Democrat Texans will still vote for him. Yeah. If he stepped foot on our farms, he would be shot with a BB gun. That's hilarious. Yeah, man, boy. Okay. So, his stubble looks like that toy you put metal filings on with a magnet. What's that called, guys? Anybody know? I think we did that on a show once. We talked about this. And it's like you can put it on his head or you can put a beard on it with the magnet. What was that called? Who knows that? Please help us out here. Okay, so a lot of references because of this Novak thing, because he said I can't breathe. So there's a lot of references to George Floyd. All right. Now, the significance of that is that if you look at the, let me bring it up here. I don't want to take us to that one yet. Yes. Okay. So this is today's Delta, 4385. Okay. June 2nd, 2020. And it talks about the Antifa mapping. Started a long time ago. So this was 2020. So if Antifa mapping started a long time ago, what I just showed you about how many people were at the New Jersey arrests out of 61, 59 were from out of state. That's Antifa, right? But even before riots exploded across the United States in the aftermath of George Floyd's death, federal and local officials. Now, the reason why there's so much talk about Henry Nowak today is because the body cam footage was released, right? Federal and local officials have long been investigating the inner workings and revenue stream of the anarchist left-wing outlet. And arrests among its highest ranks may be imminent. Intelligence sources pointed out that indictments have been building for some time, and a close examination of funding revenues remains under the microscope. scope, while Antifa operates as something of a leaderless militant wing. Sources closely engaged in the matter said that there are identifiable top brass driving and inciting criminal activity. So this is today's Delta, okay? Expect us. This is, I think, that was a link that's no longer there, but I think it has to do with Anonymous. 4387, we are united. We will prevail. God bless America. 4388 takes us to drop 26. The only way is military. Think about it logically. The only way is the military, fully controlled, save and spread once 11.3 verifies as first marker, biggest advanced drop on post online. Now, 11.3, we obviously thought was a date. Then we realized that it could be the Law of War manual that talks about the foreign the Law of War manual literally states that it is about foreign occupation. And then 11.4 and beyond talks about getting rid of the foreign occupation. November 3rd, this was the election, but also, telling us about November 3rd, 2020 coming up. And it says all systems go. Q says this. To me, that means that they were tracking everything and they knew that it was going to be stolen. Okay. This is the famous boom, 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 boom. A week to remember, dark to light, blackout necessary. Q upside down. That's a gun. Okay. The dark to light, the White House is dark. Okay, this is a week to remember, June 2nd, 2020. And then Proverbs 13:9, the light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is extinguished. Now, President Trump, by the way, this is how President Trump portrayed James Tellerico. Alfred E. Newman. And he's got a space between his teeth that they put in, or a missing tooth. We cannot allow this to happen to the great state of Texas. President Donald J. Trump, he couldn't be more right. This cannot happen in Texas, period. Now, gonna go to a couple things. One, I'm going to come back to this. This is a very, very important post. But I want to come back to that. Let me check on the timing on how we're doing. It's 1:47. So I got to bring it home. Oh, I got to plug in my computer. Bear with me here. There we go. All right. They're rescheduling the White House Correspondents' Dinner to July 24th. Okay. And President Trump's excited because we can't allow lunatics to change our schedule. Yeah. So it'll be a hot ticket. It's at the Waldorf Astoria. This is what's very interesting. On Pennsylvania Avenue, a building and ballroom that I built, President Donald J. Trump. What was the narrative of the place where he was, that the shooting took place that stopped the White House Correspondents' Dinner? It was like, we need the ballroom. Well, this is a built ballroom that he built. So it's going to bring the ballroom back into play, right? He's been asked to speak and the whole bit. So that's going to be great. So July 24th. So these are all the wins. Okay. Montana, Aaron Flint wins, was endorsed. Montana, Kurt Alme wins. Iowa, Joe Mitchell wins. Iowa, Marianne Marionette Miller Meeks wins, all endorsed by President Trump, right? Okay. Supreme Court clears Alabama to use GOP friendly congressional map in the fall. What happened to that was weird. Okay. All right. Let me get back to your comments. Folks, I seem to have kind of a problem. Wooly Willy. Nancy, yes. I think it was Wooly Willy. Wooly Willy. Wooly Willy. Yes. Very cool. Wooly Willy. It is. Wooly Willy it is. Yeah. And that was the Tellerico look, right? Hilarious. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I should not have this slow of internet right now. I don't. There we go. Am I back? There we go. Okay. So Wooly Willy, there you go. Right there, right? Now, here's what's interesting about Wooly Willy. Tellerico, this was the comment with his rough face, right? But it also looks kind of like this guy, doesn't he? Right? In a dress and sandals, by the way. Not very intimidating. He's got to carry a sword like that, right? How can they folks, here's the thing. If I'm in England tomorrow, I'm starting and look at me. I got a little Wooly Willy going on here, my friends. Tomorrow, if I'm in England, I'm starting a religion that requires you to carry a gun around with you. It's like part of our, heritage. It's part of our culture. It's part of our religion. Because make up some story. We are the last 6 disciples of Jesus, maybe, and we got to carry a 6-shooter with us, or something. But these guys are carrying around swords, for crying out loud. You got to be kidding me. All right. Jody, yes, he's cleaning all the fountains in DC, literally draining the swamp, right? Watch the water, which I talked about. Good to see you, Jody, by the way. Where you been? You've been missed, my friend. And I was talking about this just last night and also last week, because boy, oh boy, it is kind of uncanny that we're seeing what we're seeing about all around DC, and how absolutely amazing he is cleaning up DC in the way he is. Really incredible. So let me get to this. The White House posted this today, Jody. I don't know if you saw this, but let me go to this here. And this is despite I'm sorry, decline was a choice, not anymore. In just 14 months, POTUS has restored our nation's capital, making it safe and beautiful. 500 plus instances of graffiti cleaned, 153 homeless encampments removed. Not just 153 homeless people, but encampments. 22 fountains restored, 28 statues cleaned, and more. Check out some of the wins. Meridian Hill Fountains. This was beautiful. I showed you that last week. Boulevard Memorial Park Fountain. Columbus Circle Fountain. Look how beautiful this is. DuPont Circle Fountain. Okay. Freedom Plaza. World War II Memorial Fountain. Texas Shevchenko statue. I don't know anything about that. Shevchenko? General Philip Sheridan fountain. I think that was, wasn't that right by the White House? Lincoln statue in Lincoln Memorial. Interesting. Korean War Veterans Memorial Fountain. Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jody. Very cool. So let me take you to let's see. Let me take you to, I'm lagging badly. Yeah, I'm definitely getting hit, I think, with this storm. Let me see. Then, okay. Let's see. What water? Hey, Dave, I hear the move is almost over. The movie, Jerry, I believe it is. And here's why. I did the dives last night. The comms from POTUS that it was all about the end. Dan Scavino did one on the end. POTUS did one on the end. Now, not now, good now. Okay, thank you, Don. I appreciate that. Okay. So let me see this. Let me get back to where we were here, because I want to talk about Pulte, and then I'm going to finish with President Trump's post. Folks, if you want to support my work, please do so. It is much appreciated. It is very necessary to keep the lights on, and to keep my home cooled and keep me in a home. And so you are much appreciated in your support of this community, support of the work that I do. My God, over 1,700 shows, over 8 years, in my 8th year now. Wavered for a bit when I had some family leave me. But have been pretty damn consistent through this revolution. So I do ask that you reward those out there that are doing the level of work that I am and the level of consistency. Try not to get caught up with the newbies, the people that are, haven't been around as long and haven't been proven and are not Q. That's my only advice to you is stay away from the non-Qs and stay away from the people that haven't been around that long. And support the people that have been around and that have been carrying you through this whole thing. And that is me and some others that you might be working with or listening to. Karen Bass is ahead. Pratt is second. Thank you. Do we have any numbers? Okay. And Trump endorsed GOP candidate for Iowa governor is trailing and likely to lose. Folks, I can't imagine that Iowa is now, don't get me wrong. I do understand why Democrats don't vote for rhinos, but MAGA is very different. And we know that. So, yeah. Here we go. Thank you, Hunter. Bass, 38%. Pratt, almost 28%. 39% vote counted. That's too big of a gap. And I'm telling you, it is completely controlled. Yeah. Turncoats and black pillars are rampant. And by the way, it's all going to be exposed. It's all going to be exposed. And that was the motivation tonight for this right here, this spiritual street fighter, beautiful piece of artwork. Those who are blind will soon see the light. And those who are blind will soon see the light and also know who the turncoats and black pillars were, whip and spur, so that we do not go forward in this world with those people, right? Okay. All right. Let me get to Pulte. Okay. Now, Pulte, I want to take you to him directly. Okay. By the way, I've been following Bill Pulte for a long time. I like Bill Pulte. He was giving money away to a lot of people, and I would chime in and maybe I'll get lucky or whatever. But I like that he was so, so philanthropic, first of all. Okay. Oh, this was the comment about Bibi, and I was looking for that earlier. Let me pull that up for you. Here we go.
No loopholes. They originally said, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, well, what happens if you buy a nuclear weapon? So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase a military weapon. That's a big difference.
The president says he hasn't agreed to the deal yet because he still has to get a few more points in. We'll see how long that takes. The president even called Netanyahu today, asking him to stand down in Lebanon. Trump kind of lit him up. According to Axios, he told him, quote, what the F are you doing? You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this. 47's trying to nail down this peace deal, and Netanyahu's trying to lock in as many gains as he can before the deal's done. But you know what's even worse? The Democrats. No loopholes.
They originally said, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, well, what happens if you buy a nuclear weapon? So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase.
So that was with Laura Trump. I believe that was that last night, folks. Jody, thank you, Dave. DC is lovely now. Been watching reruns. I try not to miss a show. You do fantastic work, and the Sneds are some fabulous people, and I appreciate you all, aren't they? And thank you very, very much. Appreciate that, Jody. And glad you've been keeping up. Yes, so this is it's unbelievable, folks, that I had somebody who was a Thomas Massey fan who was has been giving me shit about Trump's treatment of Thomas Massey, and he just sent me a meme of how people see Trump, and he's just hugging the Israeli flag and the whole bit, and he just doesn't get it. He doesn't know Q. He doesn't get that Trump has destroyed the media. That's Israel's number one tool to control our minds, and is destroying the central banking, which is their number two tool, and has exposed the JFK files, which spoke to Mossad, has arrested Epstein and Maxwell, and had the Democrats tricked the Democrats and the media into exposing the Epstein files, tricked Thomas Massey into it as well, made Massey think that this is what he's doing, so that he wasn't a part of it. So let me. This was a post by Pulte, acting DNI. It was deleted, but Anand's got it in time. I just made the graphic, but credit goes to that Citizen Sleuth X, at least for me, but left this brutality of dastiness in the comments. December 12th, Pulte posts a picture of O without turned into Q. December 12th, Q dropped 25.97. O turned into Q. He's our friend. Okay. And there's a very, that's very dasting right there. Okay. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, when this happened, I went live and I showed you this. And then NotOpQ did the same thing. Okay. But let me take you back to, let me see if I can find, here it is. Okay. I am William Pulte. Now, Peter Gurnis, I don't know why he's doing this, but I think he's reposting Pulte. And as of this morning, the President Trump appointed me acting director of national intelligence of the United States. Now, this is not, I want to make sure it is Pulte. Let me go to Pulte here, because I thought I had might be William Pulte. Here it is. It's just Pulte, I think. So he's replacing and Pulte and Rubio, this was May 28th, that both had birthdays. Leo Terrell posts, I voted for this, and it's Pulte. Let me pull up Fox. Let's see what Fox is saying about this.
All right, now 9:31, got some breaking news. Moments ago, President Trump says he plans to tap William Pulte. Bill Pulte is the new Director of National Intelligence. Pulte currently serves as Director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and the chair of Freddie Mac. It's a huge organization, by the way. That move comes after former DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard's announced exit in May. That will be effective on the 30th of June, so a little later in this month. So Bill Pulte's been tapped. All right, now 9:31, got some breaking news. Moments ago, President Trump says he plans to tap William Pulte. Bill Pulte is the new director.
There we go. Sorry. So let me find, I did pull up Pulte. All right, let me find another post on this. But Pulte, here's the thing. One of the things I think might be happening is that he is one of Trump's guys, okay? And they're going to be pissed. You can already see the mainstream media wanting him gone because they're bringing up like, oh, what are his qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. And they want him out. They don't want Pulte, okay, at all, right? Let me get to that. I'm not going to have time to get to that. Yeah, a lot going on. I mean, the comms are off the charts, folks. Okay. Obama secretly gifted green cards to 2,500 Iranians, including government officials, as part of the Iran nuclear deal, pallets of cash, et cetera, et cetera. The reservoirs are still empty in California, by the way. Still empty. Ridiculous. I mean, how can they be empty? They lost the Palisades, the beautiful Palisades. It's just absolutely tragic. And these things are just,
in the last few
this was
moments.
from earlier.
Well, some breaking news from Hampshire Police in the last few moments regarding this case. We have heard that one of the case officers in the Henry Novak case has resigned. 3 of the officers, we're told, are still serving, but 1 officer has resigned. The statement saying, quite simply, as the IOPC has confirmed, they are all being treated as witnesses, so not subject to any current restrictions. So 1 officer involved in this case has resigned from Hampshire Police. Well, some breaking news from Hampshire Police.
So that's good to know. That's going to certainly maybe ease up the people, but they're still pissed. Okay. Let me take you to True Story Stormy Joe's post earlier. It's 1:23.
Quick video time. Okay. Department of War CTO pumps out Trust the Plan yesterday, June 1st. Okay. The last time we got Trust the Plan was June 29th. One of the last Qs we got, Q 4958, June 29th, 2022. Okay. Now today we get this surprising news that Tulsi is going to be placed by acting, we like good actors, director of DNI, Bill Pulte. Okay. So he's going to go into effect around.
And that's what I was saying earlier about central casting is the actors. They are acting. They are acting, right? Good catch by Stormy Joe.
June 30th. Oh, June 29th. Trust the Plan. Given a heads up yesterday. News today. Oh, wouldn't you know, Bill has pumped out Trust the Plan at least twice. Huh. And if that's not good enough for you, would you believe he hit an exact Q delta, changing a O into a Q back in 2024? Trust the Plan. We'll go through it. Absolutely.
So this is the ripcord President Trump posts on Truth Social regarding the appointment of Bill Pulte as the acting director of national intelligence at 9:06 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Q post 2732 dated February 15, 2019 at 9:06 a.m. A timestamp matched dark to light. The orders came from the highest office in the land. Okay. Now, what's not in this dive, okay, of ripcord that I'm going to take you to right now is, here we go. Let me get you to it. Is today's Delta, which is June 2nd. Boom, 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 boom. A week to remember dark to light. Blackout necessary. The White House, dark to light. Now, I don't know if Ripcord maybe did that deeper into this, but let me see. No, there is no dark to light. Nobody's coming up with the delta for today. All right. Okay. Okay. Ed Martin reposted Pulte back on November 9th, 2025. Shifty shift. No one is above the law. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of comms, my friends, a lot of comms that we're getting. This is significant, right? This is significant. Now, okay, so Pulte they don't want, but there was a take on Pulte that I thought was very unique, and I was trying to find it, and I cannot find it right now. But it has to do with the mortgage law. Now, SG Anon did a nice piece on this, where SG Anon said, remember all that mortgage fraud being leveraged against we the people for purposes of manipulating real estate and banking markets and laundering trillions back to the Federal Reserve. This while simultaneously inflating the U.S. national debt and imperiling U.S. national security. Who better to usher under the umbrella of national intelligence than the very guy who oversees the agency that enforces housing finance laws? Question: if mortgage fraud is funding illegal migration, trafficking into the U.S., does it become a threat to national security? Question: if that illegal migration is later revealed to have been cover for a foreign militarized, well-equipped fighting force to invade and attack the American homeland, does every civilian upstream lever originally involved in that migration then become legitimate suspects in military JAG investigations? You're watching the silent war in real time. Patriots are on the offensive. Trust your president. Unwinding 160 years of fraud, corruption, and plundering takes time. We'll get there dark to light. And this was about Bill Pulte, okay, who Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, okay, and has rebuilt Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, okay. So very, very important that we understand that two things. One, the one take here was that President Trump is bringing in Bill Pulte that they do not want because of the ties to mortgage fraud. That goes right to the Senate. Think people like Fannie Willis. Think of people like Ilhan Omar, Eric Swalwell, right? Okay. Now, but the other thing too is that if they don't want Pulte and they're going to try to push him out, then when President Trump goes to put in a new DNI, okay, then they're going to push him through because they want him more than Pulte. And I think it's going to be Devin Nunes. And so did this Anon who posted something earlier on this that I'm having trouble finding now. Okay. By the way, this clown, Jimmy Gomez, let me take you there. He was reportedly insinuated that President Trump sexually abused minor girls without evidence. He has been one of the most vocal mouthpieces attempting to tie Trump and Republicans to Epstein. It turns out that Jimmy is under investigation by the House Ethics Committee for sexually assaulting at least one female aide, 30 years his junior. Every one of these Epstein-obsessed people has turned out to be a total pervert themselves. Okay? Yeah. That's exactly what's going down. Okay? New York Democrats just advanced Democrat State Senator Louis R. Sepulveda's bill, which would replace the words mother and father with terms like gestating parent and non-gestating parent. Libs of TikTok says this is real. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. this is it. Joe Lang posted this. So he's suggesting exactly what I said. Okay. He's tapped close ally to replace Tulsi. Tulsi's going to come out with some shit before she leaves. Why wouldn't she? She's not going to be under scrutiny. She's going to drop FISA. She's going to drop Obama. She's going to drop Crossfire Hurricane. She's going to drop all this shit, folks, and then walk out the door. Pulte's going to be in control. People are going to continue to challenge his ability to handle this. And then Trump brings in this guy, Devin Nunes. And then, my friends, game over. Game over. And I'm reposting that now on my timeline so you can spend some time with it, okay? And let me take you to one more thing, and that is President Trump's Truth Social post. And I'm going to take you to that. A lot of good wins for President Trump, by the way. They're still racking up. Let me show you this. Ashley Hinson, Iowa. Zach Nunn, Iowa, wins. Chris McGowan, Iowa. Mike Round, South Dakota. Marty Jackley, South Dakota. New Mexico, Greg Cunningham. Congressman Troy Downing, Montana. Aaron Flint, Montana. Kurt Ame, Montana. Joe Mitchell, Iowa. Marionette Miller Meeks, Iowa. Okay. Now, let me take you to this last post that I want to cover. Tom Keene, New Jersey. Chris Smith, New Jersey. Jeff Andrew, New Jersey. Okay. All right, here we go. This is important. Illegal immigrants and foreign fraudsters steal billions every year from the American taxpayer. As part of my administration's historic effort to end fraud and reverse mass illegal immigration, I recently signed a powerful new executive order which will be led by the Treasury Department to stop banks, credit cards, and financial institutions from being used to facilitate human smuggling, drug trafficking, illegal immigration, and the criminal cartels who orchestrate these activities. Now, do you think it's an accident, my friends, that Scott Bessent gave that press briefing 4 days ago and talked about how he's meeting with Kevin Warsh of the new Fed chairman? Okay. This is what's happening, folks. President Trump is destroying the central bank and destroying the fraud and the money laundering through the major banking. This, my friends, goes to Executive Order 13818, which is taking the assets from those guilty of crimes against humanity. Okay. Access to our nation's financial systems must be limited to those who have a legal right to be here and who are engaged in lawful and legitimate commerce. Bank accounts being used to enable illegal immigration or to store the welfare received by illegal aliens will be shut down, and funds will ultimately face impoundment and seizure so they can be returned to taxpayers. It is not ludicrous, but profoundly dangerous that any illegal alien can simply present a blue state driver's license or Biden border document and have unrestricted access to the U.S. financial system. This also sends a clear message to the anti-ICE rioters that your violent disruptions are only strengthening our resolve. So this gets into Antifa, anti-ICE rioters. My executive order will also allow us to stop billions in leaving our country and all manner of criminal activity. So all the fraud that was being funneled back to Somalia, back to these nations, it's over. It has been said this measure we are taking is the most effective means of reversing Biden's border invasion. We shall soon find out. President Donald J. Trump. June 2nd, 2026, 2:20 p.m. The capital letter count. Obviously, some very interesting blue state driver's license is not capitalized, but he capitalized it. Alien, U.S. financial system, executive order is not capitalized. Biden's border invasion, Biden is capitalized, obviously. So that's 122. Okay. That's what that looks like right there. 122. Right. Now it's also, I'm sorry, 220. Okay. 122 and then 220. All right. So let's go to the drops. All right. Let's go to 122. Let me type into 220 and also the significance of this, by the way, is when it's right beside one another. Okay. And we drop the 0. We got 220 and 22. But let's go to 122. Right. And that is, what does money buy? How do you prevent tampering? Why are most forms of media left-wing? Why is Hollywood left-wing? Why is the narrative so important? Why do liberals defer to racism without proof? No proof. Who's HRC's mentor? What party affiliated? Proof. What party formed the KKK? Confederacy, abolished slavery. That was Republicans abolishing slavery, right? Hold on. Let's see. Let me see if I could find that. I don't think Pulte needs a confirmation hearing, Weaponsper, unless he's going to be permanent. If he's interim, I don't think he needs a confirmation hearing. So they'll try to get rid of him, and then they'll push through somebody, I think, which will be Devin. I hope Trump will come out with his endorsements for Colorado. I'm sure he will. Yeah, he's forcing the criminal illegals to go home. Why would they stay if their thievery methods have been hard stopped? Exactly, right? Hillary's mentor wasn't the mafia guy. It was the KKK guy. It was Byrd, the KKK guy, Byrd. Yeah, RICO charges on all of them, Jody. Yeah. Anyone following all the dead scientists, 2 might be a coincidence, but 13, 14, what is happening? I know that's crazy what's going on. What I'm looking for right now is Diana said that Nancy posted Bibi as a warmonger. See screenshot how Rumble changed it on her. They inserted Nino. That's interesting. Hold on. Oh, wow. No. So Nancy is trying to say, let me pull this up here. Okay. So Nancy is trying to say Bibi is a warmonger, but it changed it to, and then they changed it no I, and then it changed it to Nino instead of Bibi. Very interesting. Very interesting. Rumble, folks, watch out. Thank you for that Nancy and Diana, for bringing that to my attention. Okay. But my friends, this is huge. This executive order, I'm telling you, is so enormous. It is so important. And he also took us into the Democrats and the media and Hollywood and how they're all left wing. And this is how they made this work. This is how they ripped us off for so many years. Why are Dems attempting to erase history? Why is the black population truly free today or enslaved by the Democrat Party? Refer back to black population crumbs. Why is this relevant? Why is there attack the day after bad news is published? Democrats, do you believe in coincidences? Paint the picture. Crumbs will make bread. Operations underway. Operators active. Prey. Snow White, Godfather 3. That's 122. Let's go mirror what news broke. American contractors wear hanging from feet. Reread dumps. Why is this relevant? News unlocks map. Expand your thinking. This is the hanging of Prince Al-Walid from his ankles. And then that's when the White Hats began to take over Twitter, because they got his sea-level access, and they tortured him to get that information and how they could access it. And the American contractors, that was our, military contractors and National Guard that went to Saudi Arabia to help with the purge. Now, how is this related? Well, what President Trump was just talking to us about is all this banking and how they've done all this human smuggling, drug trafficking, illegal immigration, how they were able to do it through the banks. Okay. This new executive order is led by the Treasury Department to stop banks, credit cards, and financial institutions from being used to facilitate all these crimes against humanity. This is where it is. Sorry, I thought you were with me. Okay. This is huge. And where did President Trump take us? But the puppet strings, the puppet masters, Saudi Arabia, the Democrat Party, Hollywood, that are keeping this narrative. Why is this narrative so important? Okay. Then let's go to the timestamp. 220, reminder, unclassified setting, monitored and analyzed in real time, future answers past. Let's drop the 0, go to 22. Who controls the National Guard? Which was the contractors that went over to Saudi Arabia. Can the National Guard work in coordination with the Marines? Do conditions need to be satisfied to authorize what former president used the military to save the republic, and what occurred exactly? That was Abraham Lincoln when he sequestered the House of Maryland House so that they could not vote to secede from the Union. Biggest drop to ever be provided on Post Online. Study and prepare. The masses tend to panic in such situations. No war, no civil unrest, clean and swift. But where did today's Delta take us to? I don't know. The only way is military. My friends, it's happening. Dark to light, we got that calm. It's happening, my friends, and it is beautiful. It is absolutely incredible what we're seeing right now. And it's all being revealed. My friends, what a night, what a day. What's happening right now is so significant. I want you to please just pinch yourself. Like, we're alive right now. This is amazing. Dina Gildner, thank you, my friend. Total $150 tonight. What a blessing you are. What an absolute blessing you are in my life. Thank you, Dina, so much. Wow. Very cool. Manxie, again, thank you, who dropped $500 last night to help me out. incredible support. Looks like nothing through Stripe, but I'm getting hammered with all these weird, like really small charges on my Stripe. Like they're trying to hack me. But nothing through on Stripe. So thank you, Dina. You were the only donation this evening, but much appreciate you so much. Yeah, my friends. My baby Chase just turned 32. Happy birthday, Hunter. That's pretty awesome. My heart is full. I'm eternally grateful. Thank you. Thank you, Whippenspur. Appreciate you very much. My friends, thank you again, Holly Marsh, for this beautiful mug. Look at that. Jasper playing with the deer. And again, he's doing it here. And he's got farther to run with them and chase them. And one of them even would come back and get him to chase him again. Look at that beautiful mug, my friends. Fantastic. Thank you, Holly, for that. Thank you all for being here. My schedule. Got a lot going on, folks. Keep a lookout, but probably off tomorrow. Hopefully back Thursday. Definitely not here Friday night. Yeah. So what's that? Better than none. Get my note lowered. Better than none. Here's the thing about donations, folks. Yes, it is absolutely better than none. No question about it. But if you don't donate, shut the fuck up. Like, nobody wants to hear you. Like, if you don't donate, you don't get to say anything about the donations or about who's begging for money. Like, I'm begging when I give away everything. Like, I've given away 1,700 shows. If you don't think it's okay to ask for support when I've given away every single thing I've done, if you don't think that's okay, that's fine. But I'm telling you, if you don't donate and it comes to asking for donations or trying to get money or people are trying to support and you don't donate, shut the fuck up. If you want to support this community, if you want to support this show, I thank you. I call you out. I thank you for it personally. I get beautiful gifts like this from Holly and others. Hunter Sabo, my beautiful mug with me and Jasper, and some wonderful things. So, but just if you're not donating, if that's not what you do, if you're one of the 98% percentile that doesn't and just goes around, getting stuff for free around the internet and then goes on Facebook for free and all the platforms for free and doesn't spend anything online for that, you're being monitored, you're being tracked, you're being listened to, you're being watched. Don't go to Snedheads, where that doesn't happen and you have real people with their names and faces and communicate. God forbid you do that, because if you're going to do that, that's $17 a month. Meanwhile, the free accounts that you're going with are absolutely, making more money off you selling your personal information. So, Donna, tomorrow is your birthday. My goodness, if I miss you tomorrow, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Donna. May your birthday bless you and many, many more, Donna. Thank you for being here. God bless you, and God bless your mother and your father for the day that you were born. And thank you for being here. Moonbeam, yes, check out snedpemf.com. Amazing devices that are changing my world. Here's one of them, incredible, it'll just melt fat from around your midsection and help your back. It's incredible. PEMF and terahertz. And Thank you, Catherine. Thanks to all who support this truth and share with Dave. Thank you very much for that. You're welcome, Donna. You're so welcome. Very cool. Yeah, so much love to you all. Thanks for being here tonight. Keep a lookout for on Snedheads on X if I'm going to go live. And you know, it's always 8 or 8:30 Central Standard Time. Thank you for being here, and much love to you all. Good night.